Curvy Pony. With all of the adventures I have had with the main six, I suppose it is time I told you all my backstory. I've been wanting to share this for the past few months, and I think it is time to share it. So let's go. Oh, and before we start, I want to let you all know that these events take place from 2010 to 2019 and no other years. So we begin in 2010 in Canterlot. Isla's parents worked in a tech company for Princess Celestia. Her parents are named Quick Notes and Pop Rocks. Isla was only 1 year old, but she had a great babysitter. A little while later, Isla and her parents visited the town of Ponyville for the Summer Sun celebration. But with all the chaos that happened that day, and the new Equestria that was born, Isla's parents grew to enjoy Ponyville, and they decided to move there. Spending their time in Ponyville, Isla's parents were getting used to the town, and they even made friends with a 10/11-year-old Pegasus, whose name was Heavenbound. She was an indigo Pegasus pony with the brown mane and tail. She had orange eyes and wore a medal with a red strap, and the medal bore a picture of a shield. Isla thought the medal looked cool, and Heavenbound would tell her that she might have it one day, but there was no guarantee. Heavenbound always cared for Isla when her parents needed it. Unfortunately for Heavenbound, she did not have parents, but Quick Notes and Pop Rocks were like parents to her. Isla was a sister to her, and she would speak of a colt who was her best friend, but also like a brother to her. 2014, the year that kinda determined a huge percentage of Isla, and kinda me overall. When Twilight and her friends activated the elements of harmony, some ponies acquired the power to see their adventures. These powers mostly went to little fillies and colts, mostly fillies, but there were a few teenagers and adults who would get this power. These ponies were known as bronies, and it seemed that Isla was going down this route. One of her friends had the ability and had a Pinkie Pie souvenir. Isla was attracted to this and got the same souvenir. Soon, she also got the ability and collected the souvenirs, watching the adventures of the main six, and even watched Brony works. This ability changed her, set her life, and brought her up when she felt down, and it will be great for the following year. Remember the cold Heavenbound would talk about? Well, in 2015, Isla got to meet this pony. His name was Clouds, and he had a different color scheme than any other ponies Isla or Heavenbound had seen. He had a white coat, a black mane and tail, and gray eyes. Without his cutie mark, which was a curved arrow pointing up, and included all the colors of the rainbow, including indigo, he was colorless. This kinda set his mood, for he was shy, quiet, and pretty gloomy. But I guess no pony could blame him, since his mother, the only family he had left, was suffering from a deadly, but luckily not contagious, illness. After Isla and Clouds got to know each other more, he even got to know Isla's parents. Clouds wasn't so shy anymore. Isla one day asked if she could meet his mother. Clouds wasn't so sure about that idea, for his mother was coughing a lot, to the point where it could scare Isla. But Isla didn't know fear yet, and as long as she kept a safe distance from Lilac Lavender, Cloud's mother's name, she could see her. Let me tell you, it was not a pleasant experience. Before I tell you why that was not the best idea, let me tell you Lilac's features. She had a light pink coat, she had a light purple mane and tail, and eyes. She had a light purple feather for a cutie mark. Now this is when things got bad. Isla was introduced to her, and of course, she started coughing. Soon she stopped. When she stopped, Isla and Lilac talked and shared stories to each other. But then, Lilac started coughing, but not like before. This time, the coughing made her get up and fall to the floor. Clouds, forgetting that Isla was there, witnessing, tried to assure his mother, but she told Clouds that now was the time for her to pass. She told him she loved him, coughed more, and withdrew her final breath. Clouds was quiet, unfolded his wings, and looked at Isla, remembering she was there, and asked her to find Heavenbound and bring her to the house. Isla didn't know what she witnessed, but she knew it must have been bad and heartbreaking. She found Heavenbound and told her what happened. She rushed to Clouds, and Isla headed home. Ever since then, Isla could see that Clouds was not fine, even though he acted like he was fine. He was bottling up his grief, and Heavenbound was trying her hardest to make him let it out. Heavenbound's cutie mark was a heart with a cross in it. It showed that she could help grieving ponies heal, and she could heal them. Let let them show it, the grief. But she just couldn't crack him. She tried and tried and tried and tried. But no, it never happened. She felt bad that she couldn't help the pony she knew the most. She gave up. She felt terrible, but Isla reassured her. Isla soon ended up making a new friend. His name was Game Control, and they ended up doing a heck of a lot of stuff with each other. They were starting to be like brother and sister, like Heavenbound and Clouds. They were brother and sister. In 2017, Twilight and the Princesses made an announcement that they were going to hold a friendship festival, along with a celebration for Trixie, Starlight, Thorax, and Discord for defeating Chrysalis and freeing the changelings. This excited Isla, Game Control, Clouds, and Heavenbound. Isla really wanted to meet the main six. Clouds actually knew Dash, but Isla never saw them interact. It was going to be cool. When the ceremony came, the gang met the main six and Starlight and her friends. Island Game Control chatted with the CMC. The party was a blast, but the Friendship Festival, Isla thought, was going to be the best time ever. However, in summer, the kids and the bronies got a trailer for the festival, but it included villains invading the festival and loads more. The kids and bronies, however, couldn't tell any non-bronies or non-fans about this, since telling could leave a devastating impact on the future. Isla kept shut like every brony else until the festival. But when the third grade hit, things were going downhill for Isla. She and Game Control were not as close, and even every pony else was starting to act different. They started earning their marks, and with that ponies were growing up. They used foul language, and they were learning things they shouldn't even know at a young age. This bothered Isla, but at least the Friendship Festival was coming up and she could forget about it. Sure enough, the arrival of the Storm King happened. Isla, Clouds, and Game Control were caged together, while Heavenbound, Quick Notes, and Pop Rocks were servants for Storm Guards. Clouds was distressed by this, but Island Game Control were not worried, for they knew what was going to happen. Of course, when the outcome happened, the fans, bronies, and others cheered, but the ponies in Isla's grave were not impressed, nor surprised. Every pony wondered why Isla was cheering. They thought she was childish. Isla was a little annoyed by this, and since she noticed Heavenbound and Clouds leaving elsewhere, Isla left too. She looked for about 5 minutes when she found them, and they were kissing. It was amazing, and Isla was excited, for she had been hoping for them to have a first kiss for a while. But a part of her wasn't. She felt something else, but she couldn't figure out what it was. She went back. Game Control was wondering where she was. She said she just went to the Phillies room. Songbird Serenade, Isla's new favorite singer, was performing, and for the rest of the night, she forgot about that sinister feeling. Things, however, didn't go any smoother. More ponies were getting their marks, and she was getting nowhere. She soon started getting bullied for caring about the main six. They believed that their adventures were cliched and that they were illusions. Isla could become a brony. The bronies were infamous to some ponies, since they are believed to be insensitive and could one day trigger the end of the world. Isla, though, believed them to be kind and thoughtful. The bullying was relentless. It even angered her. Isla was sort of gaining an identity crisis. She went to the CMC for help. They couldn't really help her, but they became good friends. Things continued to go downhill. Isla even thought about going to Twilight's School of Friendship, but since she was a fan and knew about friendship, she couldn't attend. Isla and other fans and bronies realized that by October 2019, their ability to see the adventures of the main six would come to an end. Isla was not happy about this. Where would she go? Her life was spiraling out of control. She had a breakdown in Twilight's hooves, with Clouds as a witness. Twilight reassured her as her friends reassured her about ruling Equestria. Isla calmed down for a bit, but that was until she ended her friendship with Game Control. Did a terrible stunt, and the worst was yet to come. Clouds was going to turn 18, and since they were now adults, Heavenbound was going to propose to him. That was which Isla realized they were dating. She thought it was early to propose, but then again, they have known each other for almost 13 years. They do know each other really well, so maybe it wasn't so early. It depends on how long they know each other, rather than how long they have been adults. Isla would think. She felt guilty, though, for the stunt she did earlier in the week. She never told Clouds what happened, but Heavenbound and of course her parents knew about the incident. With the end of her fan/brony abilities drawing near and losing one of her friends, Isla felt the urge to do something stupid. Heavenbound told Isla just to move on, that it will not affect her future unless she lets it, and all that cliche stuff ponies tell other ponies when their past chains them. Isla felt like every pony was disappointed in her, but at least she felt like Heavenbound was not. Every pony was preparing for Cloud's party, and while that was happening, Heavenbound was going to find Clouds, and when the time was right, she would bring Clouds to the party. Here, Heavenbound gave Isla the engagement necklace. I want you to keep this safe until I come back. When I do come back, I will come to you, and you will give the necklace to me in secret. Then I will propose to him before we sing. Isla thought that was a swell idea. She smiled at Heavenbound, and Heavenbound said, I love you as well, Isla. Isla herself continued to smile. Heavenbound opened the door and flew out. Isla waited and waited. She looked out the window and noticed that gray clouds were coming in. She was growing anxious, so the CMC and Plumette, a Pegasus friend of Clouds and Heavenbound, were comforting her. Soon the clouds filled the entire sky, and they could hear thunder. With this, Isla started to get worried, and then there was a flash of lightning. With that, Isla could see 2 ponies falling from the sky. Plumette seemed to have noticed this, and she called 911. Yes, I headcanon that they exist in Equestria. It took them 10 minutes. Isla, Plumette, and the CMC went outside when they came. It was raining, and it turned out that the 2 ponies that fell were Clouds and Heavenbound. Isla was distressed by this, since, from the looks of it, they were dead. She was shedding tears, begging the ambulance to let her come along. The ambulance wouldn't let her, so Plumette said she would take her as soon as they left. Isla and Plumette went to the hospital, and, unfortunately, Isla was too young to go into the unit Clouds and Heavenbound were in. Isla was desperate, though, and pushed out of the nurse's way. The nurse tried to call her back, but Isla was long gone. When she thought she lost her, Isla sat down, thinking. While she was thinking, she realized she doesn't know where their rooms are. Isla looked around and found Clouds running down the hall. Thanks Celestia, he was alive. But what about Heavenbound? Maybe Clouds was going to her. Isla followed him. He found her room, and Isla wasn't willing to go in, so she just listened from the other side of the wall. Clouds, and the doctor talked for a bit, and the doctor said what Isla feared. Clouds, Heavenbound's dead. Isla didn't need to hear more. She ran out of the halls, the office, and the hospital, crying. It was 1 month after the terrible news, and Isla had not seen Clouds since. He now had a house, and she knew where it was. She went to visit him, and it was not a good visit. Clouds welcomed her. They talked and even laughed. Isla said sorry to Clouds for the loss. He was quiet for that. But he gave Isla something. It was the very medal Heavenbound would wear. He had to put a plastic wrap around his hoof so the medal would be solid for him. For whatever reason, when ponies, besides Heavenbound, touched the medal, their bodies would just go right through it. Same went for Isla. But when she touched it this time, it was solid. She put the medal around her neck and blushed. Cloud smiled. She got up, and something fell to the floor. And Clouds looked down, and it was the engagement necklace. Isla forgot she had that. It was in her saddlebag, and there was a hole in the bag. Clouds opened the box, and his eyes widened. Was she? He asked. Isla nodded. His eyes watered. He got a book from the table and threw it at her, and it hit her head. She ran out and heard Clouds cry, of course. Ever since then, of course, things went downhill. The coronation at twilight was breathtaking, and the fans and bronies got a little hint of the future. This didn't help at all. Not even her cutie mark she got before the stunt, which I forgot to mention before, would help. Writing stories would not help her, but she was going to go down the path life gave her, and she was not turning back. Hello, I'm back. This part of the video will explain my disappearance, but first of all, I am sorry for the FIM month disappointment. I procrastinated this video, which procrastinated the whole month. The first reason for this was because I was afraid of making this video. This story is based on a song, you can find the link in the description, I heard, which is not mine. I was afraid of getting, in trouble for this, but I think with this song, I am safe to use it for this story. I hope, at least. Second, the art took a long time to make. With school and other stuff, the art took a heck of a long time to complete, which leads to the third reason. I felt burnt out. When I was going to start the script, I didn't feel like it, and ended up making art for myself instead. I just finished my burnout, so I am back. So yeah, I'm sorry, and I hope you enjoyed this story. Bye until next time.